So this is an IAS officer with 5 months of experience in a particular industry. And on the other side, there is this industry professional who has researched and worked all his life in particular industry. Who do you think will have a better solution if some critical problem arises in that particular industry? If your answer is the IAS officer, then your answer might be biased. While I have absolute respect for bureaucrats because they pass an exam that is toughest in the world with 0.1% of selection rate, but sometimes they do lack practical experience in some domains. It does not mean that they are incompetent. We are humans and we are not expert in all the fields that are out there in the world, and that's okay. While the bureaucrats are exceptional generalists, but there is some skill gaps when it comes to some niche domains. So that's when government seeks external help for the government to function better. Recently, UPSC published an advertisement for 45 lateral entrants to join in the Indian government. UPSC wanted to recruit 45 people from different industries working in public and private sector for roles such as Joint Secretary, Deputy Secretary across 24 ministries. To give you a perspective, these are not some paper pushers. These are very important roles. Joint Secretary is the third highest position in any ministry. They wanted someone with domain expertise, fresh perspective, so that they can help government function in a better way. Just hours after this advertisement, there is a huge backlash from opposition. Not only from opposition, from the aspirants and also from the government's own allies. The main agenda of UPSC is to recruit a topmost talent to help the government function better and serve people effectively. If this will help India in a big way, then why is government opposing it? So first, let's see the type of recruitments in UPSC. Broadly, the recruitment can be categorized into two types. One is recruitment through competitive examinations. Two is through lateral entries. So the whole India is aware of the first category. UPSC conducts examination called civil service examinations for posts such as IAS, IPS, IFS and so on. And also there are bunch of examinations for other services as well. The UPSC Civil Services examination is said to be the toughest examination in the world with the chance of 0.1%. Lakhs of students write these examinations and only few hundreds get in. And there is another method called lateral entry. These people do not get hired through conventional process of writing exams, sitting interviews and so on. Instead, these are the top people from different industries. Generally, these are the superstars of their specific industries. These people, they apply to the recruitment ad and they get interviewed and get selected without any examination. This is not a new thing that is happening in India. For example, take Nandan Nilekani. He's a prominent business leader who co-founded Infosys and he was chairman of UIDI. He led the development and implementation of Aadhaar card, which is now the world's largest biometric identification system, providing a unique number to 1.3 billion people in India. Or let's take Raghuram Rajan, the 23rd RBI Governor of India. He is not a civil servant. He was not recruited by conventional civil service examination category. He was hired because of his amazing research and the work that he has done elsewhere in the world. And because of that amazing work, he got a chance to work with Government of India. And there are many more people who have made impact through their work and experience even though they are not a civil servant. This phenomena is very common in the US. US has career bureaucrats and lateral entrants. During Obama's time, he was said to appoint 3,000 to 4,000 people from different domains and with different expertise to advise him during his tenure. So in any government setup, it is absolutely necessary to bring lateral entrants so that the government can get fresh perspective and fill the knowledge gap that is there in the government setup. So now, why are the people of India, the opposition and even the government is opposing this move by UPSC? Well, here are some reasons for this. 1. No reservations. The lateral entry system by UPSC does not provide any reservations that are there in the conventional UPSC system. So some sections of society are opposing this move because of this. Also, the opposition is criticizing this move because it's their job to criticize government in any move that they make. Some of the own government's allies are also criticizing this move because of their vote bank. They want to support the people who voted for them. Otherwise, they would lose the seat in the next coming elections. That's the reason why they are opposing this as well. The UPSC aspirants are also opposing this because aspirants log years and years for this exam, keeping everything on the line. Their time, their financial status, their food, time, mental peace, spiritual peace, everything. Everything is on the line for aspirants just to crack that one exam. And even after all of those years, most of them do not make it. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. So if some outsider is coming to the system without going through this rigor of examinations and all this mental tension, then the aspirants feel a bit jealous, and that's why they are opposing it. Number 3, unfair practices. I think this is a logical reason. Some people are telling that UPSC is favoring recommendations and only hiring people who maybe bribe them or something, and not looking at the talent that actually applied for the job. After the recent high-profile cases like Pooja Khedkar, where she was accused of using fraudulent means to clear the UPSC examinations, I think it's fair to say some unfair practices are happening. And that's why there is a backlash against this move. But let's take a minute to understand why UPSC really wants to hire these lateral entrants. Because they feel that the current bureaucrats lack some domain expertise in some niche areas. If we do not let UPSC hire competent people, then how would government function effectively? And the whole government system functions slow down. This will in turn affect India's growth story. The UPSC is supposed to be an autonomous body. It operates under the provisions of Article 315 and 323 of Indian Constitution, which grants its independence without any government intervention. After the backlash received from the people, the Prime Minister took the matter into his own hands and he decided to cancel the recruitment altogether, which defeats the purpose of UPSC being an autonomous body. If UPSC says they need candidates outside the government setup, then there is a reason for that. Clipping the freedom of UPSC by enforcing political decisions and not thinking what's best for the country is such a bad governance. This type of interference by government will kill UPSC and its prestige. If there is a backlash for something new and people are not agreeing on something, it doesn't mean that you scrap the whole thing and don't do it at all. Instead, the focus should be to find a balance such that both UPSC and people can agree. The government can put stricter measures on hiring practices of the lateral entrants so that absolute best talent gets recruited and strictly avoiding recommendations. And maybe government can bring some mild reservations so that the backward societies also get hired as lateral entrants while not compromising on the quality of talent required for the job. Ultimately, the lateral entrants in one way or the other will help India to grow. People who really care about India's growth story should not have a problem with lateral entrants, given they recruit fairly. Finally, if competent people do not join in Indian government, then there is no growth story or India being a superpower. I hope the government reconsiders the recruitment and help UPSC to feed India's best talent to India's growth engine.